Hey guys, it's Nate Savage here again. Welcome to the lesson of the Beginner Quick Start series, where we're going to kind of put everything together and play through a chord progression and kind of play your first song with chords and strumming if you've never done anything like that before. So what we're going to do is put together our G, D, A minor 7, and C chords. We're going to put those four chords together in a way that gives us a nice chord progression with some really simple strumming, so you can kind of play through your first chord progression or song. You're going to hear this chord progression over and over again. The song's all over the place. So probably the hardest part of this lesson for you guys is going to be changing from chord to chord smoothly, and that's normal. Don't worry about that if you're having trouble with it. It takes really consistent practice over, several weeks or several months to get the changes from G to D, C, A minor, whatever order you want to do them in. It takes a while to get those transitions down. Don't be frustrated if you have to pause in between chords, get your fingers in place, and then play. That's kind of natural. It takes some time to do that. So let's do this. Let's start with a G chord. And remember, you can play this G chord either with your second, third, or fourth fingers, or if that's not comfortable for you, you can play it with your first, second, and third fingers too, whichever way is more comfortable for you. I like to play it this way. So that's your G chord on there. And all we're going to be doing with our strumming hand is playing just all downstrokes with quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 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 down. You get the idea. Anyway, so put your G chord on there, play that for 4 beats or 4 strums, 4 downstrokes. 1, 2, 4. And now here comes the big transition, right? You're going to want to move to a D chord and make sure to play just the top 4 strings. Don't play the low E or the low A strings here. Play just those 4 strings with downstrokes. And remember, if you're getting a sound like this, something like that, make sure you come down on the very tips of your fingers. Make sure that you're not playing towards the back of the frets, in the middle of the frets. Make sure that you're playing right up on the frets and coming on down on the very tips of your fingers. And that'll help you. Make sure you're giving enough pressure, but you shouldn't have to crank down on it too much. For a nice clean chord. That takes a bit of practice too. If your chords are not quite great sounding yet, don't worry about that. It'll come with time. So next, let's switch to an A minor 7 chord. And if you remember, first finger, first fret of the second string, second finger, second fret of the 4th string, and strum the 5 strings and leave the low E string out. Just play that 4 times. Now, you're going to switch to a C chord, and you're already almost there. Remember, your A minor 7 chord has these 2 notes in it. Leave those there. Now come with your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Make sure to curve it down right on your fingertip, come right down on that 3rd fret of the 5th string, and play all of the strings except for the low E string. So that's our little chord progression. Now, take your time, get used to changing between the G, D, A minor 7, C, and see what you can come up with on your own as far as strumming patterns and stuff like that. In the next lesson, we're going to get a little bit more complex with our right hand as far as our strumming goes. But for right now, I'm going to play through this with you. Grab your guitar if you don't have it with you right now. Go grab your guitar, and we're just going to play through this really slowly. And I want you to see how just a few simple chords can really turn into a great sounding song. All right, congratulations if that's your first real chord progression or first real song you ever played. And from here, once you can change chords like this, it only gets easier. You're going to be able to play a ton of different kinds of music and a ton of different songs. Now, in the next lesson, like I said, we're going to take it up one notch. We're going to use that same chord progression, but we're going to kick our strumming up a notch. So get ready for that. One thing that I want to tell you about that's available here on guitarlessons.com for free for you, it's a great resource, is something called the Practice Routine Generator. Now, it's something that I made because I know a lot of you guys out there as newer guitar players or guitar players with limited amounts of time to practice, you really don't know what to practice, or your schedule's so hectic that you're like, man, I only have 20 minutes a day to practice. How am I supposed to see any real progress? All you have to do to get free access to the Practice Routine Generator is fill out the little form on the right-hand side of the web page, just your name and email address, and that'll really help you schedule your practice times to where they're really fruitful and you see a lot of good results from that. So if you want to do that, that's free for you too. That's a really good resource to go right along with this Practice Routine Generator.